Good morning, guys. Blocked pave driveway clean today. You'll probably recognise this place. So this is the video I did last year, did the roof clean. I actually did come back later on in the year to clean the patio. I didn't film that. So yeah, here's the driveway. Look, it's pretty dark. I'm not sure when it was last cleaned. I think the customer had done a little test patch themselves there. So you can see what it's going to come up as. I mean, that's probably been done with a Karcher, so my pressure washer will get it much cleaner than that. So yeah, it should come up nice. I can see lots of black spots. So yeah, we're going to have to give this a nice strong hypo treatment, SH, bleach, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's something I hadn't noticed previously when I was here to do the roof or patio. I had an educated guess, I would say that's been caused by the root system of these bushes along here. I could be wrong, it could be ants, but my guess would be it's that bush. Unfortunately, that's not something I would be able to do for free. I know it would make the driveway look that much better. To do it properly, it all needs digging out. All the collapsed area needs digging out, replacing with new, re-levelling, the blocks all re-levelling. It could take hours. So fortunately, unless I'm asked to do that, that's not something I will address. So look, all I can do is just clean it and then re-sand around that area. It's a very small area and it's on the side, and it's not exactly very noticeable. I mean, I hadn't noticed it up until now. And if it is to do with the root system along this bush, then unless you remove the roots, it's possible it will just collapse again. And by removing the roots, you could possibly, it's unlikely, but you could possibly harm that bush as well. So it's not something I would tackle unless the customer specifically asked me to, and obviously paid the charge I was asking. So anyway, I've now just noticed more dipping along this edge, so let me turn you around. There's another slight dip here. Yeah, that's about it. Trust me, it's not a 5-minute job, even though it's quite a small area. Anyway, well, let's do it. Okay, sorry guys, the camera turned off without me realising. So what I've been doing, let me turn you around, is all the muck, I'm just giving it a rinse down with the turbo. So a turbo rinse down. Look, it's not as thorough as using the fan lance, but what I'm doing is I'm getting all the edges at the same time. Then I'm just having a rough rinse down. Also, what I've been doing is I've been pushing the muck into the borders. Now what I will do later is I'll just collect as much of that as possible, put it into a bucket, put it into a bag, and then I will dig this over with a hoe, make it all nice and neat, make it look like I've never been there. I do that a lot. I've never had any complaints. In fact, people are extremely happy that you dig over the area with the hoe and make it look nice and neat. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So what I'm about to do now is there is a gap there. Can't see, that's dirty. So there's a gap. So there's a gap right there, just before the border wall. So I'm going to push all the sludge into there. It can drain off, and then I can collect it later once it's drained off, because there's nothing worse than picking up a load of wet, heavy sludge. So yeah, let's carry on. I'm ready for the hypo. There's a major black spot on this. Let me turn you around and show you. See that bit there? That was where that was quite heavily infested with that moss. Really bad along there. I mean, it's pretty much dotted around everywhere. It's worse in a few places near the edges and stuff. In the middle it's got some, but it's not as bad, but it's pretty much everywhere. So yeah, let's get this treated. I'm back. Sorry, I forgot. I was so eager to get this back in. I forgot to set up my camera and record it. So I've done that bit there. There's a damp patch there. That was no surprise because it was pooling there. That's no problem. Look, if I just flick that over the top, that will go in, no problem. I pretty much guarantee that will all go in. Slightly damp there. So yeah, happy days. We're pretty much dry and able to get this back in and get paid today. Lovely. Okay guys, that's me done. Come up pretty nice. I'm not going to lie, there are a few spots dotted around. I mean, I went over it 50-50, went over a few stubborn areas neat using a brush, and even those areas are still, there are still the odd spot dotted around, sort of there. It's not perfect. Over here where there was a real concentration of moss, you can still see a few spots dotted around. So I mean, it looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, so I'm just going to send the drone up. Anyway guys, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, that subscribe button, help me out, and I'll see you next time.